welcome to the Knit Song Podcast. My name is Audrey, and this is my podcast about what I'm knitting, crocheting, yarn dyeing, sewing, and other crafts that I might be up to at the time. So welcome. I am so excited to be back home podcasting. If you watched the last episode that I posted, Welcome to the Kitchen, it was just a short video of me hanging out in the kitchen and showing you what I had been up to. I mentioned that I would be traveling to California to go to my brother-in-law's wedding, and I had hoped to do some filming in the process of being in California, and it just didn't happen. It was a crazy whirlwind trip. We helped plan and execute the wedding on the spot. It was a very short notice type thing, which is awesome. I think short engagements are great. You don't have too much time to let your budget get out of control, and you don't have all the pressure of this date weighing on you in the future. So I think short engagements can be awesome. But this one was really quick, and it was a lot of fun to be involved. And so we kind of just got there, helped all hands on deck just get this thing going, and then the wedding happened, and then we came back. So I didn't have a lot of time to stop and pull out the camera. Those of you that follow me on Instagram probably saw some of the pictures I did for the bridal shower that my sister-in-law and I threw the bride. It was a ton of fun. I also had the honor of doing the flowers for the wedding and the shower, and I posted some of those on Instagram too, and I think I'll post some more. I don't think I posted the finished bouquet. I posted some mid-progress bouquets, shots. But anyway, so that's a great segue into mentioning my contact info. I knit a little song on Ravelry. Nope, on Instagram. And on Ravelry, I am katknitss. I will put that in the description box below. The best way to contact me is either in the comments below this video, or the best way is to join our Ravelry group. There is a Knit Song Podcast Ravelry group if you are on Ravelry. And it's a great way to get in touch with me if there's anything that you'd want to ask. I currently have an Ask Me Anything thread open, and I would love for you to hop on over and introduce yourself if you wanted to join. So that's where you can find me. But I did post some fun shots on Instagram, and I probably will post a few more. So that's kind of what I've been up to the past couple weeks. Like I said, super happy to be home. Traveling and seeing family is always fun, but oh man, it's a whirlwind. And it was great, but it's so good to have your own bed and your own pillow and just your own routine back. So it's good to be home. So I will get started with today's content. I think I'm going to get us started off with knitting. Now, I did have some good knitting time on the plane, and while I'm getting this out, I should mention we had the craziest flight home. We flew from San Francisco to Utah, and on our flight home, it was a night flight, and we flew straight through a thunder and lightning storm, which I have never done before. I have flown near lightning and seen it in the distance, but this was crazy turbulence, feeling like we were getting blown off course, just crazy bumpiness, and it was a weird flight. And then the lights that were flashing, we thought, whoa, those, you know how on night flights planes will have the lights flashing on either end of the wings. We realized before it started getting bumpy, oh gosh, those are bright, and realized, no, that's lightning. So it was a crazy flight home, and I was white knuckling it for sure. Super grateful to get back on the ground after that. So I didn't do a lot of knitting on that flight. I did do some knitting on the flight out, which was much better. It was actually kind of turbulent too, but it was still knittable. So what I have been working on knit-wise, a couple things. I posted this on Instagram, but I've been working with just experimenting with some of my own hand-dyed yarns. So I have been loving dyeing yarns. The process of it is now I would say equal to, if not more than right now, like my love of knitting, which is high. Like I enjoy the process of dyeing the yarn just as much as I do knitting with it. So much so that I'm really kind of taking a pause with some bigger projects to just play with the yarn that I'm making and dyeing to see how it lays out. I've been experimenting with tonals and speckled yarn and different weights, different styles, different methods of dyeing, having so much fun. And so the project that I started is a mini version of a shawl that I might like to knit soon. And I'm not sure. Right now, I'm just kind of playing with fading. So I am hoping to, in the next couple of months, get the So Faded pattern by Andrew Mowry. I know Tristan of the Yarn Girls, the Girls in the Yarn Cafe, had suggested when I showed these yarns on my Instagram that I should do a So Faded. And it was so funny because that was exactly what I was wanting to cast on at that day when she posted that comment. So I was cracking up. I was like, yes, that's what I'm thinking. And the whole trend that she started with the fades and stuff is really just, it's so fun because there's just so many possibilities. And it's funny that I mentioned that because this morning I was watching the 21st episode of the Girls in the Yarn Cafe, and they were talking about how I guess there's some people that I guess in the yarn community are not into the whole faded thing, but oh my gosh, I love it, and I get the hype because it's amazing to see yarns work together in that way, and that whole style. I'm still into it, and I shouldn't say still because I haven't knit the Find Your Fade shawl, even though I've drooled and drooled and drooled over all the ones that I've seen. I have played around with fading and those types of techniques, but I have yet to knit one of her patterns, and I think the So Faded sweater is the one that I'm going to go with. And I'm not sure which yarns I'm going to use. I know I want to use my own hand-dyed, but anyway, all that to say, I'm really into the idea of following that trend and just enjoying playing with color. So I cast on just a simple little project that I've been doing, and so far I've used 4 of my different hand-dyed yarns. So this is a purple tonal that I did, and I apologize for the lighting today. Thunder and lightning last night, and like hot, humid, weird storm today, so it's like really gray and muggy, and it's just kind of dark out. So I apologize. This is getting a little bit washed out, but you can see the purple. Then I faded it into a blue that I've done. In fact, this side fades better because it's the pearly side. And then after that blue, I went into the green chartreuse neon thing that I have been knitting my other shawl in that you've seen. And I really, see, oh, how could people not love fades? Because look at that. That is so much fun. And I think this might be what I did do my sweater out of, is these 3 yarns. I don't know how many that pattern calls for. I can't remember. But I'm super excited about that. Loving these 3 together. Ooh. I like that. Now, the next one is more of an abrupt change, and I'm not sure that I like this transition. But like I said, I'm really in an experimental place right now with my yarn and color, and I just wanted to see. There are a couple colors in common that these 2 skeins have, but I'm not liking the transition. I like these 3 a ton. This 4th one, I might need to keep going to really know how much I like it, but yeah, I was thinking of, I don't know, I like this a lot. But I was thinking of doing this wider, a greater number of stitches, and having this be a wrap. And I have been writing down the instructions so that I could have that be a pattern. So we'll see what this grows into. I'm not sure what's going to happen with this little practice swatchy thing. But it's really just been fun to see how the yarns play together and see what it's like to write a pattern as I go. And I don't know, it's really just been a really good practice piece for writing patterns and fading colors and seeing what things look like. So that is project number 1. Now, the biggest thing in my knitting world right now is I have Chiao Goo fever. I love these needles. I I talked about them in the last couple of episodes, and I can't say enough nice things that are true. They're truly great things about Chiao Goo needles. These are 3.25 millimeter. They're sharp. They're not crazy sharp, but they're pretty sharp. And I don't know what it is. I mean, metal is metal, but they feel better than other needles. I have a couple of nickel-plated, like, slicker needles, and they hurt my hands, and these don't. Like, I love these so, so much. I kind of want to just, I don't know if Chiao Goo does, or does Chiao Goo do interchangeable sets? I need to look into that. I might want to just go all out with these. But anyway, in fact, I had a comment, I think on YouTube. I will try and look it up, but someone was mentioning that they want to replace their whole collection with Chiao Goos, and I'm there. I'm with you. I love them. They're just currently my favorite needle, and I love them so much. So that's kind of where I've been with my knitting world. I'll show you the yarn that I was doing this little sample project in closer. I knit the purple. Ooh, the purple that I started with is this purple that I showed a couple weeks ago. Then I faded and kind of striped that one into this blue. Oh, these are pretty. And then from there I went into, let's see how I can, ooh, that wasn't as awkward as it could have been. Yay. Went into this green and chartreuse. And then the next one that I'm doing that I showed I'm not loving the transition is to this. Now, originally I had planned to do this. I think that would be awesome, and this would be a good fade. I love how this one looked, but I don't think these two go together. So, I had thought about possibly trying to just do it that way. I'm not sure. So like I said, that's the beautiful part of playing with smaller projects and just seeing how colors lay out. I dyed these two. Actually, I dyed all of these the immersion method of dyeing. I've been doing some hand painting / immersion, and those do turn out differently. So anyway, that's kind of where I've been with that project. Something super exciting, and let me just address the elephant in the room here. What am I wearing? I was getting ready to podcast today, and my outfit was looking a little drab. So I grabbed a work in progress that I have, my crochet striped granny blanket, and I just wrapped it around as a cowl to add some color. And so, yeah, that's kind of what I'm wearing, because otherwise it's so gray outside and the lighting is so gray, and I just have this kind of dark shirt on, and I was like, I could use some color today, so why not enjoy the color around and put on something nice for you. So that's what that is. If it's falling awkwardly, that's why. It's not finished. It's not really a thing yet. Okay. I have digressed. Let me bring it back. That's what I've been knitting, is basically small practice projects just like that. I've been doing some swatching. None of them are really interesting to look at, but I've just been really trying to play with, to find what the yarn does after I dye it certain ways and different ways. So that's been a ton of fun. Oh, that's where I was. Super exciting. I've had some comments on YouTube and Ravelry and things about asking questions if I sell my yarn. And right now I do not, but I am thinking that I am going to, because I am, like I said, I am enjoying it as much, if not more than my knitting right now, which almost sounds wrong to say, because how could I love it more than knitting? But it's so much fun, and I see that now I'm dying far beyond what I can knit with. So I think for sheer economic purposes, if I want to keep dyeing, I'm going to have to start selling it, because I can't knit and keep up with all the stuff that I'm dyeing. So I want to keep going that direction, and I think I might be opening an Etsy shop soon. So more details to come about that soon, but I'm super excited about it. Originally, when I started dyeing yarn, I just wanted the product. It honestly came from the fact that I couldn't get on people's websites fast enough to buy yarn when they would do updates. And that's literally why I started dyeing yarn, is because I loved things that Kristen of Woolenvine was doing, Molly of the Homespun House. I could list a bunch, and because I wasn't getting there first, I often couldn't get anything, or the yarn that I was looking for was already gone once it was posted. So it truly was born out of necessity. I was like, if I want hand-dyed yarn, I'm going to have to do it myself, because I'm just not having success buying it online. Not that I had tried a ton, but that's kind of just how that happened. And now, of course, I'm aware of like tons of different indie dyers, and I could go shopping for days and just have so much fun. But yeah, anyway, so it's funny because I really just wanted the product, but ended up falling in love with the process, which is a total fun surprise because that's not why I started. I just wanted to have the yarn, and now I like the process so much that I just would rather spend time doing that than knitting most of the time, which is crazy. I know. Yeah, so that's what I've been up to with that. The other thing I've been knitting is the green shawl that I've been just making up this pattern as I go. Now, unlike my diamondy shape thing that I've been working on, I haven't been writing this one down as I go, so I'm not sure if I'm going to end up writing this or not. We'll see. These needles I enjoy. They're Addi Turbos, and I think it might be the size, but these hurt my hands so much. And I love these needles. Like, these were my favorite needles before I got the Chiao Goos. So I don't know if I'm just like, my preferences are changing, or if my technique with this is changing because there's so many stitches on the needle now. I think that could be it. But I'm having a hard time knitting with these. They're just hurting my hands a little bit. So it's hard to show the progress I've made because it's all bunched up, but we are getting closer to a finished project here. What I did finish, let me just space this out a little bit, was the next stockinette, eyelet, and stockinette section. So if you can see, I started with a triangle of garter and eyelet and a little stripe, garter eyelet, lace experimentation, and then garter eyelet. So I think if I wrote this pattern down, I would leave out this lace section and just have it be this and then stripes of this texture. So that's kind of what I'm going for. But I'm going to leave the lace for now. It'll be the special, if I ever knit this again, this will be the special one that has that random panel in it. Although when it's done and when it's said and done, I might actually like it. So maybe I will leave that in the pattern. Who knows? But we've got hundreds of stitches, it feels like, on the needles now, and I can't wait to wear this thing. It's so summery. I really want to finish it now while it's still July so I can wear it in August. I just can't knit fast enough on this thing. So it's also the point of the shawl. You know, when you get so many needles, so many stitches on the needles, that one row takes so long, and so the progress just feels like it slows down to a halt. That's where I'm at with this, and I can't wait to wear it, but it's just feels like it's taking forever. So I cannot wait to have this little baby done. Yeah, love the color and the texture. I'm real happy with it. So this one so prettily matches its home, my little French country inspired project bag with my little teal zipper that I enjoy every time I open. So that's kind of all I've been knitting. I think I want to move on to what I've been dyeing, and I am excited to show you a couple of new things. since last time, actually, last time I podcasted from the kitchen, I was working on this one. Pardon me. I disappeared for a moment. This one I call chocolate chip cherry cake, which makes me hungry every time I look at it. So it's mostly a neutral, but it has speckles of dark brown and pink. And I like it. It's a lot of fun. This was one of my first attempts at just a neutral and speckled. I have it caked up over there, right here. And I love how it looks. I can't wait to knit with this. I'm thinking of casting something on today with this, but I really like it. So this one was something that I did before we left for the trip. And then we got back and I couldn't wait to start dyeing again. And so I did this yesterday, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, I don't know. But I call it Glacier because it looks like all the colors in a glacier, and I love it. So it's got kind of a dark royal blue with just a hint of purple, some turquoise, blue greeny stuff, some neutral-ish, lavenderish sections with dark blue speckles. I love this yarn. I'm really in a good spot with my dyeing because everything I dye, it's like my new favorite. And that's why I'm having so much fun with the process. I love the process. It takes a lot of time. It really does. It's a time consuming, it's a day if I decide to do a few skeins of anything, but it's so much fun. And I just love seeing what comes out. So here it is in the hank that it was dyed in. So I also have a smaller one. This is 100 grams. This is 50 grams. And then this one kind of has space to breathe a little bit because it's not so much yarn in the skein. And you can see some of the lavendery sections that aren't showing up so well. There's some lavender in here that's kind of washing out. But yeah, this is Glacier. And I love it. I can't wait to knit with it. Then I was curious, so I wanted to see what it would look like if I reskeined it. So on my Swift, I set it to a different diameter and then caked it up, rewound it, and then put it back on a different, I said that wrong. I put it on the Swift, caked it up with my Knit Picks ball winder that I really enjoy. I had always hand-balled yarn before. I'd ball it up by hand, and oh my goodness, a cake is so much better. I get why people, sorry, I just kicked the camera there. I get why it's better. It's a center pull, and they're just better. It's worth the investment. It was like, for both of these on Amazon, it was like $30. One was $15, the other was $15. It was not bad. And it's so fun to, wind it off the Swift. But anyway, I put it on the Swift, caked it up, then attached the end from the center back on the Swift at a different diameter and turned that around, and voila, you have it reskeined. And so here it is in its original form, and then here it is reskeined, and you can see the difference. Reskeining, as it's been explained to me, shows you a little bit more of what it will look like when actually knit up, because it's mixed up. It's not you don't have the clumps of color where it was placed. So it was fun to see what that looks like reskeined. So I'm really, really liking this yarn. I can't wait to knit with this one. I might have to cast on something today with this. I might have a case of castanitis coming on. Yeah, so that's that. Yeah, I don't think I have dyed anything else since what I showed off last podcast, which is the Wild Wacky Watermelon color in worsted. Still looking for a pattern that I would want to cast that on for. But yeah, so that's what I've been knitting and dyeing. I haven't been crocheting, as you can see. this is exactly where I left off with this crochet blanket last week. And now it's a cowl, of course, for a week, but it'll go back to being a blanket. I had so much fun with my mom, who was with me helping with the flowers and stuff for the wedding when we were back. She is a knitter and a crocheter. She crochets probably more than she knits. And she is doing a worsted weight granny stripe blanket, and it's half the size of a queen bed right now. And I told her this morning on the phone, like, I wish I had a picture of it that I could show on the podcast because it's awesome. And she said, no, it's not podcast worthy. And I said, yes, it is. So if I can get a picture of it, I will show you. But most of the crochet granny stripe blankets I'm seeing are all on fingering weight, sock weight yarn. And I like them that way. They're nice and drapey. But hers is so awesome. It's all these worsted scraps that we've had throughout the years. Some of them are hers, some of them are mine that I'm not interested in anymore. And it looks cool and it feels really good. It's like got a nice heft to it. It's weighty. So yeah, hopefully I'll maybe be able to post a picture of it on Instagram or something. So yeah, moving on to our sewing segment. I have another book review of a book by Gertie, Gretchen Hirsch. She is my favorite sewist right now. Sewer, seamstress, I don't know what the correct term is. I recently got this book from the library, Gertie's Ultimate Dress Book. I fell in love with it so much that I went out to Barnes & Noble and I bought myself a copy because, one, I like to support and vote with my dollars and support great, what I think are like great books or great art and things. And so this book is so awesome. I was like, I have to buy this. Second of all, I wanted to buy it because I wanted to have full access to write on the pages. I'll do a short little review of this book. If you are into sewing and haven't looked at this book, grab a copy. It's a wealth of information. She spends the first 3 or 4 chapters giving you just a wealth of information on how to assemble garments in general. The order of construction that she recommends, beautifully photographed examples of hand stitching, just fabric differences. She gives like a paragraph on every type of fabric that you could buy, what kind of projects that works for, what kind it doesn't. It's an awesome book. The second half, as if that wasn't worth buying enough, the second half goes into 18 or 20 different dress patterns that she actually includes in the book. And what's great about this is, and I don't want to show too much of it, but in the back of the book, you get 8 huge pattern sheets, and they're amazing because inside of all those patterns, you get, I think, 7 different types of bodices, at least 3 different skirts, at least 4 different sleeve types. And what you can do, because these are all sized together, is you can use them to make all the dresses in this book, but you can also use them to mix and match them into making your own dresses. And she gives you enough information in the front half of the book that you feel completely confident that you could do that with those pieces. Another great thing that I think I'm correct in saying is that once you make a muslin, which I am in the process of for this pattern book, and adjust that to yourself, you can apply that, like if the darts are 2 inches too high or too long or whatnot, if you apply her fitting principles to a muslin, those apply to all these patterns, at least all the patterns of the same shape within this book, because they're all sized the same. Whereas if I had a butterick pattern and a simplicity pattern, and I'm making 2 different dresses, my alterations to one pattern might not numerically exactly work with the other, if that makes sense. Maybe I'm wrong, but excuse me, I'm choking on my excitement here. But yeah, I think it's so worth buying. If you're into sewing any type of dress in the future, buy this book. It's awesome. So let me show you what I have done with this so far. Funny story, I didn't know how to use a tracing wheel until this morning. My mom cleared something up for me on the phone. So I was using a tracing wheel to, you know what, I'm going to get rid of this. It added some more color for the beginning of the show, but now I'm getting warm. So I used a tracing wheel with the patterns in the book to cut out one of the first patterns that I want to do. And I couldn't find butcher paper to make my patterns, and so I used kind of a plain gold colored wrapping paper. And so using a tracing wheel to push super hard from the page of the pattern onto this paper, I cut out on the dotted line that I had made with the tracing wheel my patterns, and then I was able to cut my muslins out around the patterns. And so now I was like, that really hurt my wrist. Like, I had to push so hard. And my mom was like, well, did you have tracing paper underneath? And I said, that must have been the part that I was missing, because I saw it there. When I bought the tracing wheel, I saw the tracing paper next to it. And apparently there's that paper that you can, it's like carbon copy paper for fabric, and you just run the tracing wheel gently along and it marks either the paper or the fabric underneath. That would have been good for me to know. But I charged ahead and found out the hard way. But it still worked, but I think I'm going to get the tracing paper for the next one. So that actually brings me to where I'm at with this project. I should show you which dress I selected to do my first one. The first one that I want to do from this book, and there's so, even though there are so many like combinations you could make from all these, the ones that she includes are just amazing and diverse. From cocktail dresses to dresses that would be great for the office or work, to just fun casual dresses, to really pretty party dresses. She even has a wedding dress in here. So great. Anyway, here's what I am doing first. I am going to do the plaid rockabilly dress. I love that it has cap sleeves, a v-neck, and a pleated skirt. So this is the first dress that I'm going to make from this book. I am already having so much fun. I have all my muslin pieces cut out, and I'm going to sew them today, haha, and see how they fit, and hopefully be able to apply what she writes about in her chapter about fitting and fitting a muslin to this project. So super excited about that. I would show you more, but really this is kind of what it looks like now. It's just all the fabric folded up in the pattern pieces. And we will see, hopefully next week, what happens. Now, once I get my muslin fitted and I have my first practice dress done in this white muslin, which is, I guess, just a cheap cotton that people use to make mock-ups or practice dresses or fitting dresses with. Once I have that done, what fabric am I going to use for this dress? Well, what a good question. I'm glad you asked, because I have them right here. It is actually the two fabrics that I had showed a couple weeks ago. So the first one I want to do is this, and I think this will look so cute in that cap sleeve pleated skirt dress. I did experiment with this before I went on the trip and made like a wrap dress. I think it was, who was it on YouTube? Sorry, one sec. It was Dill Back. I don't know if that's their name or their YouTube call name, or what's it called? Screen name. Requested, could I show it? And yes, I can. I will right now. So I put it on my dummy, and this is what I came up with. Like I said last week, the purpose was to get used to handling this fabric because it's different than what I've used before. So I made, well, here's the bodice. I thought this was going to be easier. Sorry. Here you go. So this is exactly how it looks. It stays up well, it's comfortable, but it is not flattering on me. Looks good on the mannequin, but what you get is all this gathering in the front, and the seam disappears in the front because of all the gathering. This is just a tube sewn in the front with the top few notches open. So I'll show you what I did. This is so lazy of me in a sense, but it was also just the way I work. I like to experiment and do things by hand so I understand so tactily I understand what I'm reading about when I read. So here's the tie. Here's what it is. It's just a tube with, it would be a perfect cylinder if it wasn't for this 10-inch gap here. And then I just wrapped it around. And so I thought if it looked cute, what I could do would be, of course I would finish the ends. And then I thought I could tie or sew some straps to the points here, to the back, and it could just be kind of like a cute wrap dress. If I were a thinner person or a straighter figure, I think that would actually look really cute. It looked like it could. Even the back, the way it draped was really kind of fun. It was very summery. But on me, it just didn't look right, and so I need to use this fabric. I want to use this fabric in a way that I'm going to like, can't wait to wear type thing, and I need to do a structured dress and not a drapey dress for me because of my size and my figure and stuff. I think that will just be better. So here, as requested, is it on the dummy. It is about knee length in length, but this was the experiment. Now, here's what's great, is I didn't lose any fabric because all I did was I just hemmed the cut edges and I left the selvage edges. So really, it's just a square. I did sew a hem, but I did it right at the edge of the selvage, and I can rip that out, and that's easy. And then I can iron this, and it's all still here. I didn't lose any yardage on this experiment, which was awesome. So yay for that. So this will be my first rockabilly dress. Gertie's is plaid in that picture, and mine is going to be the blue. This is actually her fabric too. I guess I'm just a fangirl now. But yeah, I just like what she does. So that's the first fabric that I'm going to do that in. The second fabric, if that dress goes well and fits well, then I will probably proceed and do a second one with this beautiful border cotton sateen. I think that's what it is. And have this on the bottom. And even use a little bit of the, so you can see it's like, I've showed this before. Large border on one side, small border on the other. For the cap sleeve, I was thinking of using a little bit of this thin border for the sleeves. So, super excited. So yeah, I gotta get sewing. But those are my plans for sewing right now, and I'm proud of myself for making some progress and buying the book, reading. I read all the way up to the pattern section, all the technique stuff, and I'm going to keep reading it and practice it. I have, Stitchtopia, thank you for your comment. You mentioned, it said, love your show. Suggestion, why don't you take a sewing class to expedite your garment making skills? This is a great idea. And it sounds so obvious. Why haven't I thought of that? I don't know. I think I actually am going to look into what's offered in my area and see how it'll work with my work schedule. But I think I might do that because you're right. There's nothing like having a physical person in the room to help you and guide you with what you're doing. So thank you so much for that comment because it reminded me that that is an option and that would be really, really helpful. My grandma taught me a lot of the basics, as I've mentioned before, and she passed away a few years ago. So I wish I could still talk to her about my sewing because I wasn't sewing up until recently. Like I kind of, this whole just kind of started about a year ago. And I'm bummed that I didn't, get into it while she was still living. We had so much fun. The summers of my freshman and sophomore year in high school, we did a couple dresses together, and the sewing machine always chewed its own yarn, and it was just an old machine, and I think it was just acting up. So we'd make a bunch of progress, and then we'd have to stop, and she'd kind of have to work on the machine for a while, or we'd just both get frustrated and leave it there and then go have lunch and then come back to it next week. So we never gained a ton of traction, but we had so much fun in her sewing lessons, and I still remember ironing things with her and pinning things and cutting, and she would explain to me what all the markings meant. And so even though I'm not able to talk to her about it now, even reading about it from Gretchen Hirsch or other sewing bloggers, or I bet the experience would be the same in a knitting class, garment making class, because it's just even hearing people talk about those terms, it's like, oh, I remember where I first heard that, and it's really good memories. So thank you for that comment. That was a good reminder that that's an option, and I think I might look into that, because it'd be fun to meet sewing friends as well. Like, I think just meeting the people would be fun too. But yes, thank you. I think I will look into that. Yeah, I think I'm going to move into the last segment today, and it's a new segment that I wanted to do, and I wanted to start a knitting health or crafting health segment. I've mentioned before that I have issues with my hands. I'm a music teacher as well as a knitting person, a crocheting person, a person who likes to craft whatever I'm doing. My job involves a lot of administrative typing as well, so I struggle with how many hand it's like a currency, like how many dollars per week, do you have like a budget? I feel like I have a budget on my hands. Like I can only do so much with them before I start to have issues. So I thought, I've heard other people mention that, and I thought it would be fun just to have a segment where we just, every podcast or every other one, I mention like what I've learned and share that, because it's a bummer to love something and then not be able to do it because you're not up to it. Like it's like a real punch in the motivation to make your creative things. So this week what I'll share is I found a person that wrote a book that I want to buy. His name is Carson Demers, and you might have heard of him. He's actually speaking at a conference in Seattle that I so want to go to. It's like a knitting event in a few months. I'm going to see if maybe I can make it happen. I don't know if I'll be able to go. But man, I really would love to hear him speak. But what I'm going to do for sure is buy his book. He wrote a book called The Ergonomics of Knitting, or Knitting Ergonomically, and I'll put his name and the book in the description box. A podcast I'm a huge fan of is the Fruity Knitting Podcast. It is hosted by a wonderful couple, and they are thorough interviewers of their guests. They're just so fun to watch. I just really like them a lot. They did an interview with him on one of their podcasts about knitting and ergonomics and pain and technique, and oh my goodness, it was great. In the description box I will try and include which one of their podcasts it was, but I highly recommend them. He mentioned so many interesting things about how knitters used to hold their needles pre-Industrial Revolution, and how it became more of a hobby thing after the Industrial Revolution. It was really fascinating. So I think what I'm going to share for this week is just that, number one, if you're interested in knitting ergonomically, I think he's distributing the book himself, is what he said in the interview. I'm not sure who's publishing it, but if you wanted to Google it, look it up, and join me in the journey of reading that book, I might even start a Ravelry, a thread in our Ravelry group about the book, and we can do like a book club type of thing for anybody who would like to learn how to, not only if you have knitting pain, or if your hands can only go so far with knitting or crochet or anything that you do crafty wise, but if you want to be able to preserve your good health to do it, because he talks about prevention as well as fixing a problem. So yeah, let me know in the comments below if you would want to join a book club on his book, and maybe we can get that going. So maybe we can even do a prize or something for that. Anyway, yeah, so that is my knitting health segment. Yeah, I think Looking at my notes here. That's really all I have for you this week. I would love to hear from you. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below. Yeah, like I said, I would love to see if anybody would be interested in doing a book group with me on, or joining one on the Knitting Ergonomically book. So, yeah, I hope you have a crafty and creative, wonderful week. I will see you soon. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe. It is always great to be notified when new content comes out, and I would appreciate it. So thank you so much for tuning in. Yeah, I hope you have a great week. Thanks so much. Bye.